Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about in what is called an impromptu speech on the subject of public speaking cannot be taught in an online environment. I chose the topic because it's something I do have some feeling about. I've been a teacher. I've even been a coach for public speaking and a judge in some national competitions. So I know a little bit about the subject. First of all, I have to help you with the definition. Cannot be taught in an online environment. If you mean by teach, it can be lectured about, well, no question about that. Of course, that can be taught. Anything can be lectured about. Anybody can give instruction on any subject. I'm taking taught to mean what I think most of us understand it to mean, which is, can it be learned in an online environment? And my answer to that is no, it cannot. Let me begin by talking first about the speech that I'm giving right now. This is called an impromptu speech. Impromptu speech is one of the most difficult speeches to give. The reason is you have no time to prepare. Generally speaking, an impromptu speech in a competition, for example, you are given a series of topics. You have 5 minutes to prepare and must speak for no longer than 5 minutes, and the judges will give you a timer. When it's judged, the first question they ask is, did you do a good job? Of course. Did you speak well? Did you cover the subject? Did you do all the things that were necessary? The next thing they ask is, did you give the proper appearance? Did you cover the subject and did you present it well? Second question. Third question is, what was the audience response? This is not an impromptu speech by any definition. First of all, the topics were given weeks in advance. You could have gotten them any time. You could have had this topic for an hour or 2 hours or 6 hours or 2 days or a week. In my case, I looked at the topics a week ago. And I thought, well, I could talk on a number of these subjects, but this one interests me. This is not an impromptu speech because impromptu truly means you have no time to prepare. You are asked a question, you're interviewed on TV, somebody says, well, what do you think about the war in Iraq? You must answer that question now. You have no time to prepare. Now, the teacher gave an impromptu speech, he said, but he did not give an impromptu speech. He had prepared that speech and given that speech on many occasions before. That is not impromptu. It's the opposite of impromptu. It's a prepared speech, a practice speech, a rehearsed speech. Prompt means now, no preparation. So first thing you have is you have teacher. Let's assume that in this class we have the best teacher available. He's from a good university. He's a senior lecturer. And that reminds me of something else. He is a senior lecturer. What is he doing? He is lecturing to us on the subject of making a public speech. It is an introduction. Yes, it is an introduction. He is telling us the theory of public speaking. Now, I think he's a good public speaker in the sense that he's a good teacher. He knows how to stand up. He knows how to give the lines. He knows how to speak clearly. No problem. A great public speaker is a guy named Dale Carnegie. A century ago, he gave a speech. After a few years of practice, he gave a speech at Carnegie Hall, which is a huge auditorium. He rented the hall and filled it and gave a speech. He says, learning the lessons of public speaking is useless to you. You must have passion in your speech, and it must be you who's speaking. It must be something inside you have to say. If you don't have that, you're not going to speak well. Here you have no audience. You have no chance to see whether an audience responds to you. You don't have passion about these subjects. You don't care about them for the most part. Neither do I. And this one I happen to care something about. And so I've chosen one that I think I can make a speech about. Now I've set up a timer so I know how long I've spoken. Right now it's 3 minutes and 45 seconds. I want to point out, it's not an impromptu speech. The lecturer is lecturing to us. Lecture means read. He could read this stuff to us. You could get a book and read this. Read Dale Carnegie's book on public speaking. Perfectly good way of learning the subject. To make yourself a good public speaker, you only have one way of doing it. Stand in front of an audience and speak. Now, you think that's very difficult, I'm sure you do. But you've been speaking to people, that's the public, your entire life. You speak in front of a class, you had to. Somebody says, where's Russia on the map? Oh, I'm very nervous, but it's somewhere here. It is Russia, right here. You speak in front of people. So now the test is, are you going to speak in front of people again and again and again? If the answer is yes, then you're going to learn public speaking. The online environment does not provide that, nor does it provide you an intelligent and effective critic of your work. We are criticizing each other's work, but we're amateurs. The teacher knows something about public speaking. Presumably, let him criticize us. He can't. 100,000 students, impossible. 200 students in a lecture, impossible. My time is up. Public speaking cannot be taught in an online environment. That's the end of the speech. Thank you very much.